Hello, what we're going to be talking about today at ABD Tools is what we think is the best method of removing a radiator, and we offer kits, about 4 or 5 different kits, which will allow you to take the radiator off without draining the water inside it. You might want to remove the radiator for reasons of decorating or tiling behind it or cleaning behind it or refixing broken brackets, whatever, or just changing the radiator. So what we're going to show you today is our way. It's called the rad clamp system, or the rad kit system, for taking the radiator off without having to drain it, and we believe it's the best way of doing it. We sold about 35,000 kits to date to very happy customers. So we'll get on with it. So the principle of it is, you've got 2 ends. I'm going to show you one end. Obviously whatever I show you on this end is duplicated on the other end, so we can get a close-up on this. So this is a typical standard angle pattern radiator valve, which will be connected to your radiator. It can be a thermostatic, or this is a wheel head valve. And the radiator valve is made up of the radiator body itself and that piece there, which is the tail piece, which goes screwed into the radiator, and it separates here with this union nut or captive nut. So the first thing you would do using the rad kits is, first of all I'll show you the actual kit itself. This is the main one here that we sell, which is called the Rad Kit Pro. We sell this is our main seller. This has got absolutely everything in it. I'll show you inside to show how neat it is inside. Full instructions as well. So there's all the components, nicely fitted in there. Everything's duplicated for obviously 2 sides of the radiator. So that's that. So in the kit you get the actual clamp itself, which is called the rad clamp. This is designed to fit on any flat panel radiator. So what you would do, you would put it onto the panel itself underneath. Slide the finger at the back there will go behind the radiator. If it's a double, it'll go in between the front and the rear panel. You put about 3 inches from the centre of the clamping screw to the end, approximately, doesn't really matter, about 75mm, 3 inches. Then just tighten that on there, and that's that bit done. So that's, you don't have to be over tight, just hold it on like that. So that's that done. Next thing you need to do, we're gonna this is the seal part of it here, which is soft rubber. And if you look on the end there, it's less than 1mm thick. It's very important that I'm going to show you why, and why this overcomes. There are other devices supposedly to do this, but to be honest with you, I don't know how they work, and you could run into all kinds of problems. It's up to you to find out if you want, but this is the best way. So it's 1mm thick and it's soft rubber. So just keep that to one side for now. Put that down there. Now we need to undo this nut. Now in the kit we do a rad spanner, which we supply, which we produce this specifically for undoing all types of nuts on radiator valves. This will fit all types of nuts. This is the 3/4 one there, and that is the 1/2 inch one, which will fit in there, or sometimes you get a 1/2 inch in between there. It'll fit all nuts on radiators, that's for sure. So sometimes when you're undoing this nut, it'll be super tight, or tighten up. You need to tighten it up a lot. It's very important that you hold this valve, because if you're putting pressure on that nut there, up or down, it'll want to twist the valve, and then you can end up with problems here. It can disturb the joint here, and you have water, then you're in all kinds of problems, and sometimes you might have to drain the whole system off to fix that. So that's that fitted. So what some people would use to hold the valve steady is something like this, which is called water pump pliers, and they grip it like that to hold it. Now if you look inside here, they're designed to hold things very tightly with teeth, very sharp teeth inside there. Now what will happen is if you squeeze it too tight, it will mark the chrome. It doesn't look very good. It definitely will mark the chrome. So what we have as an alternative is this tool called the Rad Wrench. It's specifically designed and made just for this job and nothing else. It looks like a spanner, but it isn't. Now there's 2 ends, one larger end for TRVs or thermostatic radiator valves, This is for the smaller standard type. So how that works, it goes over the side like that, up or down, and once it's on it'll lock on. So that will hold it that way. Now in this case, we want to slacken this off. But before we slacken this off, let me just tell you what you do with the valves first. Screw this one down, fully down till it stops. Go to the other end and you'll find a cap on the top, it's called a lock shield. Pull the cap off and there's a spindle inside. Turn the spindle down with a pair of pliers or a spanner until it stops. That should isolate the radiator. Then the next thing to do is go to the top of the radiator. You'll have a bleed screw at the top, and you need an air vent key, which you do get in the kit, by the way, a very decent one. And get a cloth and just undo the bleed screw at the top of the radiator until water stops coming out. If water keeps continually coming out, that means one of these valves isn't turned off. So to overcome that, turn it back on and off and on again a few times to grind the seal in the bottom. It's probably the other end actually that would cause the problem, but most of them will be okay. So once the water stops running out, you know that these are actually turned off. And it's very, very important then that you turn this valve, close the bleed screw off. Do not leave it open. It's very, very important because we need to maintain a vacuum in the radiator, because we're going to be undoing this in a minute. So we've done that. That's that done. So this is obviously just a test piece radiator, so this is already pretty loose. But what you do, you put that on there and push this down to hold it down, and put the spanner on and then push the spanner up, whichever way. So put it up and that will undo it like that. And just keep your finger on the valve there to maintain a bit of pressure and undo that. And don't panic because you've got the vacuum and it's still pretty much sealed there. Recommended you put a cloth on the floor anyway just to catch any drips. So the next part we need is this, what's called the guide rod. And if you look at the end of it there, it's specially shaped. I don't know if you can see it, specially shaped. And in the fork itself, you've got a slot. So how that works, that goes into the slot, and then once it's turned a quarter, it's locked on. That's locked on there now. So if you turn it back a quarter, it will come out like that. So what you do, you put the guide rod into the block like that, just leave it there, and that's ready. So the next thing you do, after that's fitted, and you've done all what I've told you before to close the valves off, etc., and the bleed screw, you've done all that. Now, you pull the valve away. Now sometimes you'll only have a very, very slight gap here because the pipe is so solid, it won't give you much room to get anything in. Now, some of these devices are quite thick to go in there. I don't know how they'd work, to be honest with you. You'd have to find out what I meant by that, but they're quite clumpy and I just don't know how they would work. And some people would say, well, why not just use brass caps to go inside there? Well, you can do that if you want to do that, but sometimes, like I said, there's not enough gap there when you pull that away. And then you will find that by the time you've screwed it on, because you'll be all panicking and fingers going everywhere, the water will start glugging out. Even though it's got the vacuum, the water will still come out after a few seconds, 10-15 seconds. So, and the other thing is, of course, you'll find that the cap that you buy or get hold of won't be the same thread as that. Or there's two different sizes anyway, we know that. This is universal. It's thin, it will fit any type of tailpiece on any radiator. So what you do, you pull the valve away and slot it in, and that's it. It's now sealed. It's stretched over the end and it's sealed. So we need to hold this in place. So what you do, you slide the guide rod up to the slot, give it that quarter turn again, that's locked on, and push the whole thing that way into the clamp. There's a pinch screw there, tighten that up, and that holds it in place. That's now sealed, stretched over. You can see there it's stretched over. That, believe it or not, will seal the water in no problem. So of course you do this, duplicate what I've just shown you here at the other end, then the water's sealed within inside it, and then you're ready to take the radiator off. On bigger radiators, if you want to, because they're very heavy if they're full of water, if you want to part drain, you can part drain first and then put these on, and then it'll prevent all the black nasty water coming out and going all over your carpets. and believe me, once you get down to your floory carpets, you're not going to get it out. It's like ink. It's really evil, nasty stuff. So when you take the radiator off, be prepared and have a couple of bricks or blocks of wood ready to stand the bottom of the radiator on against the wall. Don't put this on the floor because you'll dislodge this. Get a couple of bricks or blocks ready, put that against wherever you're going to stand this, and lean it up out of the way of your job and put it to the side of the room or whatever on a couple of blocks, and that's all ready, all removed, and you can do your work on the wall. Now when you put the radiator back, hang it on, make sure these are pushed to the side, hang the radiator back on with these on, and then reconnection is just as simple. All you do is slacken that off, that'll become loose, flip that out of the way and push that on. It's instantaneous, and then just tighten up your nut. Once that's done, you can remove this, just take that out of the way, that's job done, and then again use these tools again to tighten it up. So now you're pushing that down and pushing that up, so give it a good bit of pressure like that. Reconnect it, do the same the other side, connect it like that, nice and tight like that. Do the same the other side. Once you know that's done, undo the valves, just re-bleed. You might have a little bit of air at the top, just reopen this at the bleed screw at the top, and then your system's back in, your radiator's back in the system. You've not lost any of your inhibitors. There's no need to refill the system. On a pressurised system, you've got to go to the boiler if you've drained it and refill it using the filling device on the boiler. But on most radiators, you can take them off with the water still inside, reintroduce it into the system. There's no refilling necessary. So that's it basically. Full instructions are provided, step-by-step instructions. So they're called rad kits or rad clamp systems from ABD Tools, and we think that's the best way of removing a radiator if you don't want to drain without causing a mess and all the associated work with it. It's just another option for you. You can try the other things if you want. Choice is yours, but I hope that helps, and happy plumbing, and thanks for watching.